This just in. Attack on Titan Season 2 has been postponed indefinitely.
Was? Ich bin ein Berliner. Wie geht's?
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go.
To the Batmobile. Let's go. Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. Roger. Ready to move out.
什么？我都不知道啊，为什么他们不喜欢我们？
Jess, I know exactly what you're saying. I get a copy of the script too. And now you've hurt my feelings, like Pilot Porkins hitting the wall of the Death Star.
I'm not sorry.
I know. I know.
Yesterday, Kickstarter backers took to the streets, rioting over the news that Facebook has acquired Oculus VR. Many protesters are angry, stating that battle lines have been drawn, and you are either with them or against them.
It's sheer madness. Hipsters are posting pictures of the scene on Instagram and not using the proper filters.
We asked a few protesters what they thought. One commented that this is not what we paid for. I would rather play on a Virtual Boy. Many are campaigning for their money back. The movement claims that if they were going to be bought out by Facebook anyway, then they didn't need the money to begin with.
Wait, could Oculus have even been this well known without that?
Still, some more ambitious individuals are claiming that they should split the new money between the backers of the original project, as it's really their money.
Nope.
Whistleblower Edward Snowden is at it again. Yesterday, he released new information about NASA and their projects such as the moon landing. Apparently, it was all faked.
I knew it. So what'd they do? Go to Area 51 to film it?
Nope. Turns out they actually landed on Mars. That's right, freaking Mars! But the American scientists didn't want to lose any clout due to miscalculations, and they refused to just admit that they were wrong. So instead, they took photos using the only filter available back then, black and white, and passed it off as the moon.
There are no words. Are Martians real? Like, tell us, NASA.
Scientists have discovered a new phenomenon many are calling Winterminator. It causes people to stay indoors and say
Nope.
to life in general, killing all things social.
And bugs.
The new phenomenon is marked by a cold, blustery winter, at least 2 major storms relative to the area, a significant increase in females wearing short shorts when it's 60 degrees,
50 degrees for men.
and a general consensus that this summer is too darn hot, and why is my electric bill so high? Scientists do want to stress that this was not caused by Snow Queen Elsa, no matter how much the internet wants it to be. Also, meteorologists are saying that this means we will probably see snow until June, including the blizzard scheduled to arrive sometime next week.
Now, some of you might not understand just how much clout we carry as a public access TV show with no budget or artistic merit.
So much clout, like at least 1,000.
But despite all our greatness, we were humbled when we received a cold call from our living god, director of Valve, Gabe Newell, who offered us the honor of an early access look into Half-Life 3. As expected, Half-Life 3 continues the odyssey of Gordon Freeman as he shoots things, and resolves a revolution against an overbearing alien overlord while obeying orders from an overbearing alien overlord. It's the dream of every gamer.
This is how you win awards, people.
Half-Life 3 takes place 136 years after the events of Half-Life 2. Aliens have now completely replaced human beings, and everyone is happy with living lives completely without free will or choices, except for Gordon Freeman. Gordon's continued quest to free a now extinct humanity without a free will of his own leads him along a completely new and original storyline. The chapters are divided into unique, fleshed-out environments, each with their own personalities and missions. One that sticks out is simply called The Bus, where Gordon has to keep a bus moving above 50 miles per hour or it will explode. Another mission turns Gordon into a dead body that can only move while music is playing. The whole experience builds into a whole new way to experience video games as a whole. It's a wonderful experience. And speaking of a new way to experience video games, when we met Gabe Newell, he led us into a room with a watermelon and a cantaloupe. He touched both of them, and there was a flash of light. Then, when we could see again, we were presented with a completed version of the Steambox and Oculus Rift virtual reality headset. Then he touched a lemon, and it became the Steambox controller.
Ha! Satire.
It's safe to say that we were playing Half-Life 3 at the highest technological level. The Steambox is way more than just a shaved-down PC. It's actually a decent gaming PC, much like the ones we already have, but priced based on the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Google it.
Combined with the Oculus Rift, Half-Life 3 can be rendered so realistically that wounds actually appear on the player exactly as experienced by the character. No game has ever had this level of immersion, and it increases the stress the players feel with each firefight. There's also all new enemy AI, and again, it's easily the best AI in gaming. Instead of programming AI for different types of enemies, Valve instead uses Half-Life 3's always online function in order to have each enemy controlled individually by imprisoned Valve employees who only get to eat after a confirmed player kill. And so we had to ask, captive employees, well, what about the portal gun? Well, fans have been asking to include the portal gun in the next Half-Life ever since both series were confirmed to be in the same universe. Half-Life 3, with a surprise entrance that is truly a memorable moment in gaming, has the portal gun, and we at Nerdcast have decided not to spoil that for you. We want you to be just as surprised and excited to find out about it as we were. So, is Half-Life 3 the greatest video game experience of all time? Well, maybe I can explain it to you this way. I once spent a summer excavating dinosaur bones. I didn't find any because the area had already been scoured by scientists, archaeologists, and paleontologists. The whole experience was a complete failure, and I cried for 3 days. Then, on the 4th day, I awoke in a puddle of my own tears to find that the milk had turned to cream. And then the frog could hop out of the kettle to safety. Afterwards, I think we all learned a valuable lesson. Back to you, Trevor.
Scientists have made an amazing discovery. They're just on a roll this week. Hopefully, this one isn't fake like Bigfoot or the moon landing. Pikmin are real, guys! Seriously!
Wait, Pikmin are real? What about Pokemon?
Nope, still in your dreams. However, right after this discovery, they found evidence of Smurfs, and then some random guy with a camera spotted a whole Smurf village.
That's awesome.
Yep, right up to the point where the Pikmin and Smurfs found each other. When the Smurfs saw the blue Pikmin, they determined the blue Pikmin were kidnapped by the other Pikmin from their tiny little Smurf village. They immediately declared war on the Pikmin utopia. It was a fierce battle of rock, paper, scissors. By the time the smoke cleared, there was no Pikmin or Smurfs in sight. Scientists have been unable to find a trace of either species since.
That's depressing.
Not as depressing as North Korea's new television show, The Real Hunger Games.
I'm afraid to ask for an explanation, but I need an explanation.
See, North Korea thinks that if not eating were an Olympic sport, they would win. Therefore, Kim's trying to make it one by using this show to have it gain popularity. Next, he's going to demand that North Korea host everything.
Yeah, that's gonna work.
Both the US and Canada are tired of Justin Bieber and all of his believers. In order to decide who is stuck with the wonderful teenage pop star, they decided to have a hockey match.
Wait, isn't that dangerous? Like, Canada's good at hockey. We can't risk this.
Well, the game somehow ended in a tie. Both sides just gave up and sent Bieber to Antarctica. Unfortunately, the Penguins disagreed with this proposition and just left. Hopefully not before leading Bieber to a soon-to-be hungry polar bear.
Can we adopt a penguin?
We have one. He works behind the news desk. See? The last story I have for today's news is about Apple, as they are being innovative for once and making some big changes. The next iteration of Apple TV will not use a remote. It will not use voice commands. And no, it will not use eye movements either.
Well, how does it, what?
It's going to use thoughts. That's right, guys. The next Apple TV is confirmed to use your thoughts to change programs, rewind, fast forward, play games. It will even make you breakfast.
This sounds amazing.
Yep, and it will only cost the low, low price of your soul and only eating Apple products ever again. The device makes apple bread toast with apple butter, apple pies, apple wood smoked bacon with a side of apples, apple souffle, and basically anything where apple is a main ingredient. It will make all of your meals for you so you don't have to. In fact, it's in the binding contract made when you purchase the product that you can only eat the meals it makes. Never have to worry about expensive nights out again. The device is expected to ship this holiday season, just in time for Google Glass to send out the next round of their product, which are kid-friendly. They send out certain waves directly to your child's brain to make them more complacent. That means no more temper tantrums in the store, no more asking for apple ice cream for dinner. Oh, if they eat anything with apples in it, they break out in hives. And that's it for today, guys.
You would think that after the unmitigated disaster that was M. Night Shyamalan's first attempt at a live-action Avatar movie, there wouldn't be the budget or support to justify the creation of a sequel. But we live in a much darker and crueler universe than anyone could have ever imagined. M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender Book 2, The Legend of Korra, continues the story of Aang, Sokka, and Katira as they battle the evil Fire King and Prince Stucco.
Seriously, what does it take to pronounce the names in the original Japanese?
In a controversial move, Book 2 expands on the Avatar mythos by adding new elements for the characters to bend using awful CGI and pseudo-martial arts. Shyamalan said in an interview that Nickelodeon probably intended for these elements to be in the original cartoon because, quote, it just kind of makes sense. These new elements include spoon bending, paper bending, bendy straws, Bender Rodriguez, blending, agricultural studies, liberal arts, and animal husbandry.
Those aren't powers. You were reading from a college brochure.
Shyamalan apparently took the time to at least Google his source material this time because the fan-favorite blind earthbender, Top, manages to make his way into the film. I can't say I was particularly impressed by Shia LaBeouf's portrayal of the blind monk, but I was happy to have the character on screen, getting some much-deserved attention. Of course, the most outstanding improvement comes from the new change in atmosphere. Shyamalan went for a flashier, grittier Airbender movie to reflect on the increased age of the actors and fans. Aang and company now spend much, but not all of the movie, in a futuristic Tron world. Much of the martial arts combat has been stripped out in place of long-winded firefights, which were unexpected, but full of lots of distracting explosions. More distracting explosions than this reviewer will ever need. Also, Aang's new motorcycle, the Flying Bison, is completely awesome.
What's my line? I thought everything in this movie was great. It made my childhood happy. Yeah, I'm not saying that.
I'm sure most of you have heard by now that this movie has revived Shyamalan's career in direct proportion to how badly the first one killed it. That's in no small part to Book 2's amazing twist ending, worthy of being called Shyamalanian. Shyamalan?
Shyamalaning.
Shamalama-ding-dong.
Shamashank Redemption.
Shia LaBeouf. Oh my God, that's how it happened. They're the same person. Classic twist ending. I don't want to spoil it for you, but everyone's heard about it by now, so just think of this as doing you a favor so no one thinks you're weird. The entire show is all a dream in Momo's head. All of the characters have been dead the entire time. Go see it. It's in theaters everywhere.
Okay, this show is going horribly, all right? I thought we were going all out with the content this week.
Yeah, I mean, we would, but this is public access after all.
Oh, so you're saying...
Yep.
So, but we can't even...
Nope.
Oh, I got nothing.
All right, well, on with the plot then. Fans everywhere have been praying for it to happen, and DC has finally listened. The New 52 is being undone.
Hallelujah!
Mark Waid and Greg Rucka will be returning to DC to write Unlimited Crisis, an epic event that will completely reset the DC universe to how things were before Flashpoint.
And they thought Twinkies was a great comeback.
The final 3 issues of all currently running New 52 series will tie into this epic storyline, and the main 9-issue miniseries will star some of the greatest cancel heroes from the past 2 years, including Frankenstein, iVampire's Andrew Bennett, Shining Knight, Dial H, and Resurrection Man. Best of all, DC's making sure to keep around some of what worked. Scott Snyder's Batman had no continuity conflicts and therefore will remain in continuity. And some of the better altered New 52 characters, like Captain Atom and Green Arrow, will stick around in Earth 6, the Unlimited Universe, DC's new equivalent of the Ultimate Universe. This is basically the best DC news that we could see.
Okay, so coming later this summer, we have something pretty interesting. It's been a super secret project for about 2-3 years now. Now, as soon as Tokyo Pop went down, Funimation started handing out lifeboats, and guess what? Now, we're getting our very own live-action Sergeant Frog movie. Now, I know what you're thinking, all right? How big of a deal is it going to be? Well, let me tell you. At select theaters in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and Baltimore, we're actually going to have costume parades for promotions for the movie.
And actual frogs will be in some of the theaters.
That's right, they will be. But of course not in the popcorn, hopefully. Now, here's the really awesome thing. Even though it's coming out in late August, you can go ahead and actually pre-order tickets for your choice of theater. And the first 10,000 people to actually pre-order their tickets for the movie are going to be sent in the mail one of these awesome promotional pins. Now, I already got mine. Where's yours?
In other, arguably equally good DC news, the announcement has been made that legendary superhero cartoon Batman the Animated Series is being miraculously resurrected with the entire same cast and crew.
Mark Hamill's coming back? Again?
Yes, Kevin Conroy said he's always been eager to return to Batman, and Mark Hamill came back on board when he realized this would be the kind of thing worth him coming back to the Joker for. Bruce Timm is excited to return to his quintessential work, and has let slip mention of a few of the more recent villains we'll be seeing around, including Hush, James Gordon Jr., and the Court of Owls. The first season premieres this October and will be 100 episodes long.
So now, in the spirit of making live movies out of every really awesome series that's ever come out, we're also looking at, dun-dun-dun-dun, next winter, Cowboy Bebop live-action movie.
Thankfully, not the rumored one with Keanu Reeves as Spike Spiegel, because no.
Luckily, it's not. And no, Michael Bay will not have his hands on it, because Funimation and Touchstone will be releasing the film starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Spike Spiegel and also Ron Perlman as Jet. Now, the roles of Faye and Ed still have yet to be filled, probably by a couple newcomers. It's undetermined at this time. Like the Rurouni Kenshin trilogy, we're looking at possibly condensing the first 2 seasons into about a 90 to 120 minute movie. It's going to be awesome, and we'll see you in Space Cowboy.
Wow, this news just keeps getting better and better. Rob Liefeld has confirmed that he's permanently retiring from the comic industry.
Frank Miller, you're next.
He will no longer scar the pages of comic books with his horrendous body proportions, horrible faces, inconsistent illustration, and crappy writing.
Well, at least he never drew Stephanie Brown.
He's even made a formal apology for his years of disservice to the industry, though not without a little bit of an attempt at justification. Apparently, Rob Liefeld is part of an alien species, and the rest of his kind all look like his drawings. In fact, his eyes are so adjusted to his own kind that he literally cannot see normal human beings as they're supposed to look. One wonders why he became a comic artist with that handicap, but at least he's gone now.
Okay, so something really exciting. Funimation, for the first time, has actually had a character submission contest that was open from January 1st to March 1st. Now, the best 10 entries will be chosen to create their own one-shot OVA or manga.
And how many of them were Naruto ripoffs?
Okay, so probably not many of them. However, 5 of the 10 selected will be chosen for a one-shot manga, and also the other 5 will be chosen for an OVA of about 90 minutes in runtime. Now, here's the really cool part, because we here at Nerdcast actually submitted an original character, and we won.
Is it the one I pitched about Stephanie Brown?
No! Fluffernutter was chosen. That's right, our favorite behind-the-scenes, taco-eating, baseball bat swinging, grumpy little penguin will be getting a very own one-shot of his very own. Run in fear and hide your children.
Marvel, never once to more quietly jump on DC's big bandwagons, has announced a retcon of their own. One More Day never happened. Peter and Mary Jane still never married, but just as a regular retcon. Peter never made a deal with Mephisto to trade his marriage for Aunt May's life, even though everyone from May herself to freaking Jesus told him to just let her go in peace.
Better deals were struck on Craigslist.
Marvel has announced that since everything is going basically fine, they're going to stop being greedy jerks and standardize their comic prices to $2.99 like everybody else, and that the supposedly free digital copies will actually be free now. My wallet thanks you so much, Marvel.
As a public service, we here at Nerdcast would like to ask you, do you have poor hygiene? Do you have some of that funky con stank?
Mitch does, but Jess doesn't, and I'm definitely not just saying that because she's standing right next to me staring at me.
Well, we do have good news for you if you do, or even if you don't, because for the 30th year anniversary of the Pokemon franchise release, major drugstore brands will be carrying, wait for it, Pokemon toiletries. Now this will include everything from contraceptives to shower heads.
So I can start a shower by shouting, "Squirtle, water gun!" and then he stares at me for the rest of my shower?
Quite possibly.
Excited to awkward at the speed of Mitch.
This will, of course, include Scyther razor blades, Tentacruel shower caps, bars of soap shaped like Pikachu, and loofahs in the form of mudkips. But whatever you do, whether you're collecting or actually using these things, just remember to do one thing for us here at Nerdcast. Keep it clean.
DC has decided that Aquaman's as good as Batman, and in addition to Aquaman and Aquaman and the Others, starting this summer, Aquaman will have 4 ongoing titles, with the introduction of Aquaman King of Atlantis and Swimming Comics.
Well, I must say, things are going swimmingly.
And finally, Alan Moore says he's suddenly feeling really happy.
Aww, someone just got a batch of puppies, didn't they?
He takes back criticism of the adaptations of his work, and he's going to relax and just not be angry anymore. Good for you, Alan.
Well, we've waited for it long enough, and finally it's actually happening. George Lucas and Stan Lee will actually be issuing a public apology.
Ooh, for which of the many things that require it?
Well, in this case for selling their companies and their visions to Disney. Now, this will be made available on July 4th by YouTube live feed, and also a podcast will be going on live at that time, so they can declare their own independence. Sadly, it's too late to stop the Star Wars movie that's already in progress with Disney. And in somewhat related news, Miyazaki, of course, could not be reached at this time, and he kind of refuses to apologize for Ponyo.
Okay, Jess, let's try to do the show without this becoming a battle between us.
Did you know that if you stare at the sun directly for a long enough time, your eyes will eventually explode?
What?
I'm getting my master's degree in space vending technology, so that way astronauts can have snacks in space.
Okay, Jess, I'm seriously going to...
And suck a punch. Now, good, bad, random. Ooh, yay! Pink bunnies and fuzzy babies. What?
Random. The very first prank phone call was in 1884, 8 years after the telephone was invented. Now, someone used the new technology to call undertakers to pick up people who were still very much alive. To this day, the caller has still never been found.
Bad. Let's try to limit the slapcams this year. Honestly, would it kill you to be even a minute bit creative?
Good. Okay, guys, before a prank, let's be smart about this. Ask yourself, what is the chance that this will send my friend to the hospital and me to jail?
Random. PrankNet, or Prank University, is an online community of pranksters who have prank called businesses so hard that they are actually responsible for about $60,000 worth of damage, if they're ever found.
Bad. Never, ever cling wrap someone's car on a hot day. If that thin plastic melts, you have just laminated somebody's vehicle.
Good. One of the best pranksters out there is a guy named Nick. He was born with one arm and no legs. So, what does he do, you ask? Well, he pretends to be a zombie at Walmart and scares people.
Random. One of the most famous practical jokes ever caught on film was the famous scene in Carrie where the title character is covered in pig's blood. Was it a mean and hateful prank? Of course it was. But it was a good thing she had psychic powers.
Bad. Hang on a second. I just feeling a little... Oh, wait a minute, I see. Mitch, I know this was you, and I will smash your PlayStation 3 with a ball-peen hammer.
Good. I just put itching powder in Jeremy's clothes.
And now for another quality sketch.
It's not that great.
Oh, come on, this stuff's golden.
Dude, when are you going to realize that we're the talent and this whole sketch is just the writer, arguing with his own subconscious whether or not to continue the same running joke?
Well, is he?
I'm glad you asked. Insert badly timed edit here. April?
Fools.
Hey guys, sorry for pranking you earlier.
I'm not, but please don't hate us.
At least none of us is Mitch.
To apologize, we'd like to give you the real news now.
Well, real enough.
I mean, some of it might sound fake, but I swear it's real. You'd think this would be in the joke news, but no. Kaboom is making a 6-issue Doodle Jump comic.
So, The Last of Us is coming to PlayStation 4 this summer.
Ghost in the Shell Rise has 5 short films made for it, 4 of which are live actions by young directors. The 5th one is a montage of the first 2 episodes of the new series.
Marvel announces Spider-Verse, a story with literally all the Spider-Mans ever.
Okay, Oculus VR really was bought out by Facebook. That part wasn't a joke.
Imagine Grand Theft Auto, Simpsons game graphics, and Japanese schoolgirls, and there you have Girls Panzer. The game is now being released for PS Vita and will follow the series of the show, complete with voices from the actual cast.
Spider-Man 2099 is getting an ongoing series again with original creator Peter David.
Respawn has finally begun to start banning the Titanfall cheaters.
Do you love toy vending machines? Well, now Bandai is going to be using soda can-sized capsules for their prizes. What does this mean? Bigger prizes and tax breaks for the Bandai Corporation in the land of the rising sun and sales taxes.
DC has recently announced 2 more ongoing series, Star-Spangled War Stories and Infinity Man and the Forever People.
Despicable Me minions are finally getting their own movie, and it's gonna be their origin story.
Are you going to Otakon this summer? Well, the first 10,000 people to pre-register are going to only have to pay $70 as compared to the full price. Now, there is going to be a 35,000 guest cap this year. It's been the same as always, but this year they're emphasizing.
The last issue of Forever Evil has been pushed back from early to mid-April to May 21st.
Microsoft's E3 conference is supposedly all about games this year. Yeah, like that'll actually happen.
Okay, so for those of you who were fans of the series Hayate Combat Butler, we're basically looking at an old series with a new OVA smell. It will be based on original source material that was not actually adapted for the anime series.
On the other side of the comic industry, the new Valiant series Rai has been pushed forward from a May release to an April release.
PlayStation 4s are also rumored to be getting preloading functionality, meaning you buy a game, download it, and then you can play it when it officially launches. Yay.
Well, this has been fun. We hope that we only offended half of you and alienated the rest.
Wait, we have viewers?
Yeah, I thought I told you.
You've been lying to me.
Yes, I have. Cue to credits.
Justice slap. 都不知道啊，为什么他们没？sorry.
April Fools, but now we're serious.
为什么他？为什么 Give me a second.
I'm not.
Then I jumped a
All right,
line.
now you're psyching yourself out.
Tyler, how did that sound?
I think she quit.
Also, there's like just a nest of outlets just hanging right behind the camera.
Run in fear and hide your children.
What's good, bad, random this week?
Pranks. You remember you were supposed to write that?
Comic news.
Okay, Jess, let's try to do the show without this becoming a battle between us.
Did you know that if you stare directly at the sun for a long enough time, your eyes will eventually complode?
Complode. It's true.
Ready for another quality sketch?
It's not that great.
Good job, Mitch. Thank you, Mitch.
If thin plastic melts and you've just laminated someone's car.